Vince Sly, you got hashtag blindsided last night on Survivor. Tell us what happened there at Tribal Council. Why did Will flip on you and Nina?
You want to call him? Get him on the phone? Let's ask him. My perception, my idea of why, I'm sure that what they showed, that little comment at the end that slip up Nina had, might have had something to do with it. But you got to think that there's a tremendous amount that happens on the show that you don't get to see, right? Mm-hmm. So, my perception is that there's no reason for Will to have gone with any other decision than us against what I call the Barbie pack. So, or Barbie box. Why the Joe, Jen, Haley needed to get broken up. Here we have a group individually ostracized that come together and make a new power alliance. So I did everything I possibly could to step it up. I mean, including the reason why they chose to split their vote rather than funnel 3-on-1, which was I faked an idol. And he was on board with all of it. There's no reason for him not to have been on board with it. I get that I was a bit of a crazy player. Admittedly, day 3, when I hadn't slept for a couple of days, I'd gone past the point of being quirky and extemporaneous, probably into the realm of capricious. I was just like raw emotion, and I might have said some things that he was triggered by, which he was going to play challenges, win challenges, do that whole thing. Like, he really loved the challenges. And I think that somewhere around day 4, I don't even know what it was. They all kind of blend together. But I slipped up, and the first time the Will had kind of a notion of, man, this guy might actually be crazy and do something that can just screw us all, is I wanted Joe to go because I felt like Joe's the power player, and he was really hard to be around at times at camp. So I said, man, Joe's got to go. By any means necessary, Joe's got to go. And I might have said something to the effect of, like, I'm even down to throw a challenge, Joe's got to go. I kind of turned him off. I did as much recovery as I possibly could. It seemed like we were on the same page up to the point when Nina said, you know, and he had the whole thing. Like, I likened it to being that which lit the fuse to the bomb that ultimately blew up and sent me home. So I'm not going to pretend in any way that I didn't participate in building the bomb. I mean, most likely you can't just, one little thing out there is not going to turn somebody off unless they're totally strung out raw. So it was a series of events. And I don't regret anything that I did out there. I loved it. I loved every moment. But, you know, there were some things that I probably prepped Will with to make him wary of me. And then when she said that, it was just like, oh, no, I can't trust this.
Right. I imagine Will might have watched the episode and he probably is thinking, I made the wrong decision, because I feel like you did everything right and he just that one thing set him off, and unfortunately it means you're sitting here today.
Right.
Tell us how... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm waiting for your question.
How long is...
Why there's a helicopter right over my head?
How long was the tribal council? Because on TV it's only about 10 minutes long, but how long was it in real life?
Just as is the case with everything out there, you're being filmed from every angle for hours. Every conversation, like, you know, and I want to go back to saying the thing about the Jen thing too. Specifically, tribal council, I don't have a clock, nor could I watch the moonrise, but yeah, I'd imagine that it was an hour and a half. You know, something like that, maybe even closer to 2 hours. You know, you're there for a long time. Each person gets asked questions, and there's a lot of debate and conversation. I chose to take the most stoic position possible, which was I didn't want to stir the pot anymore. I'd set up so much for them to already split the vote. I didn't want to, offer any opportunities for Will to think that maybe I wasn't trustworthy or, anything. So I I just went in there hoping that it was going to play out the way that we had all planned. And unfortunately, I got blindsided by someone in my alliance, by Will.
Mm.
I mean, the blindside hashtag was accurate in reference to Will. It was not accurate in reference to the Barbie box, because I knew exactly where they were coming from. I knew exactly what their play was, and that's why I put into effect the fake idol so that they would split the vote.
Interesting. That we didn't really see that on TV, the fake idol.
I know, and I don't understand why. I really don't. And I mean, I don't know if that comes into play later. Like, I'd imagine it's got to come up at some point where now that they think Nina has an idol, they're going to ask about it. They're going to try to wash it out. I mean, something's going to come up with the idol at some point. I don't know why it wasn't mentioned even as a preface in this episode, because everyone that I've talked to so far is like emails from friends, other fans. I mean, I had like 500 messages on Facebook yesterday. People were like, why the hell did they split the vote? Like, what did we not see?
Right.
You know, it should, if anything, it should have just been like a straight up tie, 3-3, then revote 2-2, pull some stones. We didn't see that. We saw a vote split. And, I mean, I don't know why they didn't show a lot of my strategizing and gameplay. And who knows?
Could you give me one word to describe all of your fellow tribe members, starting with Nina?
Although you don't see it out there, joyful.
Did you say joyful?
Yeah.
Nice. And what about Will?
Happy, sweet lady.
Mm-hmm.
Committed. He's a
Joe.
family man, you know, he's committed. Joe, creative.
Okay. Ellie?
Haley?
Yeah, Haley, sorry.
Mystical.
Ooh. I love these. And Jen?
Bitch. I'm kidding you, really. No, that's not true. That's not true. I actually really like that. That's just for all the media. Jen is independent.
Nice. We have a fan question from Allie Schroll. She wants to know, are the feathers a normal part of your everyday life, or was it just kind of for the show?
Neither. They're traditionally worn for ceremonial purposes, like as when I hold space for sweat lodges or men's circles, or if I perform at a festival, if I'm dancing. And in this case, they were worn as a kind of an honor to the native lands with which we were playing the game on. The natives that lived there were in harmony with their environment for a great many years. I mean, the very environment they were trying to survive on, they thrived in harmony. And they are also pretty. I mean, it's kind of a twofold thing. Like, I started wearing them for ceremonial purposes in honor of the land with which I was dancing on, or participating in an experience within. And then they kind of became just like a thing that I wore for a while. They're pretty. They glow. They kind of flow with my personality when I'm in that experience. But in my everyday life, they don't translate well as a holistic counselor. They do in reference to choosing to represent yourself externally as you feel internally, which I am a great promoter of. But, when I'm going to like a corporate office space in central Manhattan, having feathers in my hair just kind of turns a lot of people off from being open to what I have to say. And oftentimes, I can bring to them an alternate perspective, which shifts them out of unhealthy lifestyles. So turning them off up front is not necessarily the way to go. Did that happen on Survivor? That's a whole other conversation.
A final question here. If they asked you to come back, would you say yes, or would you have to think about it?
The only thing that I've got, the only answer, and the answer is the same as when I was sitting on that Apple box afterwards, which was, hey, bro, hey, I'm on the phone right now. Yeah, brother. Yeah. Thank you.
That happens a lot.
That's really sweet, though. Which is people come up and be like, hey, man, saw you on the show. Thanks. It was awesome. All right. So, I'm sorry. Where was I?
You say you're standing on the Apple box after work?
Oh, yeah. Sitting on that box. Same sentiment is that, if you had a jet fueled ready on the runway, I'm off. I just got to find a place to park my truck, and I'm gone.
Nice. Awesome, Vince. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. We will see you at the finale reunion.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man.
All right. Yeah. Bye-bye.